welcome to another exciting adventure on the energy that surrounds us. I'm your host, Michael, and tonight's guest, if you are a follower of both my shows, you recently seen on my other show, Riding Through the Unknown, and tonight he has graciously agreed to come on and share some really fantastic and amazing experiences and knowledge around a specific topic I think you all will enjoy. So you are in for a huge treat, and I am going to waste no more time away from this topic, and I am going to turn it over to my amazing guest, the one, the only supernatural extraordinaire, Aage Nost.
Oh boy, oh boy. No pressure on that one, huh? All right. Well, I I've had a lot of strange experiences, and I think I've done a lot of research into those subjects, and I found some things that coincide with the experiences. And tonight we're going to talk about ghosts, disembodied entities, and what is outside of the physical, because that's what you wanted to talk about, right?
It is, and it was also, you had mentioned on the previous show afterwards that you were hoping to get to talk about that topic, so it's a perfect one for this show.
Yeah, it is, because now the rumor on the street is that sooner or later we're going to get to experience what is outside of the physical when we drop the body. So this is something that it helps to know a little bit about what is out there when it happens, because we there are things out there. Yes, things, not just spirits, but there are things that could be thought forms, that could be dead folks that don't know they're dead. Wow. How would they not know? No, because it looks the same. And in the astral world, it looks somewhat similar to here. It only that it works different. You don't walk on the floor anymore. You just kind of float through, because you can't walk because you have no weight. So and the disembodied entities that I have ran into as an astral traveler is mostly the ones that has very little or hardly any spiritual knowledge whatsoever. I guess we call them atheists. And they are usually the one that gets stuck, because now there is a saying, and that is that no one dies alone. That is basically true. But there are times when you drop the body, you die, and then you find yourself outside of the body, standing there looking at yourself, and you're laying in bed, and you realize, how can this be? If you have no spiritual knowledge at all, it'll scare the daylights out of you, and you are totally confused. You have no clue of what to do. And if there's no one there to meet you, you don't know what to do. So you just hang around. You wonder, is it a bad dream, or maybe I'll just wake up soon? So you just keep hanging around. But the thing about it is that once you drop the body or you die, wherever you are is not your home anymore. You should not spend much time there, because you can get stuck. You should try to find someone to bring you home. And there is this spiritual telephone. That spiritual telephone is very simple and it works. If you're after, let's say, if you die and then you don't know what to do because there's nobody there to get you and take you home, try to call somebody. Okay, I'm going to qualify that one because visualize, let's say, someone in your family that you have, was a spiritual person, hopefully not religions, because they are going to another place that is not, well, that's different. But visualize that person in front of you. Let's say your mom died a few years back and visualize her. Try to feel her, create a feeling in your mind about love. I love you, Mom. And then tell her, come and get me. Now, why would that work? She's not there. Well, outside of the physical, there is no air, and words are worthless, but the mind can create the pictures of her. And since quantum mechanics tells us that everything is connected, so you are still connected to your mom. And now, everybody that has dropped the body, they become telepathic. Is mind-to-mind communication. She just might get the message. Mom, come and get me. And if it doesn't happen the first time, do it again. Because she will probably get the call and come and get you. Now remember one thing. When she comes to get you and you go with her, you are going to end up where she is. But it may be better than what you, if you're miserable where you are, that may be still better. So this is one way to get away from where you are after you drop the body. And this is something that we should think about because, like I said, the rumor on the street is that we're going to get to experience this one day. Well, only 275 years from now.
And
But
I have an interesting question about that.
yeah.
And so, if we believe, because, I'm going to go with religion for a second, and religion says, oh, I'm in purgatory. But now purgatory, according to religion, is closed. What happens to you in there? Do you stay in there because you believe that it's still there? Or do you get to go somewhere else because it no longer exists?
Purgatory is a man-made concept based on a lie. But because you believe it, you may end up in a place just like that. But it was man-made, created by the Catholic Church to keep people in line so they would believe what they were told and keep giving the Catholic Church their money. The same thing, if you are, well, let me give you an example. There are no specific rules for this that I know. I knew a guy here in Tucson. He was a sniper for the US Army in Vietnam. And he had, I think he said he had 20 verified kills. That's a lot. He murdered 20 people for the sake of They told him his country and his loyalty to the country, and he didn't know why he killed them. So he came back from Vietnam and he got into church and he got religion, and the preacher told him, killing 20 people, he says, you're going downstairs when you die, down in the basement, next to the furnace. There's a name for it. He said, you're going to hell because killing 20 people, that's unforgivable. And he believed it. But then he had a near-death experience. And he didn't see any of that. He found himself walking among beings of light and dead family members. Everything was wonderful, he said. There was a phenomenal feeling of love. So it didn't happen to him. But he thought he was where he thought he was going to end up. So that's why I say I don't think there is any specific rules that if you think you're going to go to hell, you're going to go to hell. Obviously, that may not happen. But there are also people that have had near-death experience that have found themselves in a place like that for a short period of time and then came back. But most of the time, when people have near-death experiences and come back, they have wonderful experiences. So let's talk a little bit about how you can prove this to yourself. I think the absolute best way to prove this to yourself that ghosts exist, get yourself a fourth generation night vision goggles. And when you get them, they come with straps. You can put them on your head and, just regular goggles. And then night vision, you got to go somewhere at night. Go to a graveyard or go into a haunted house or just out in the woods. You're going to see things that isn't there. If you go, let's say, up to the graveyard and have the fourth generation night vision goggle and keep looking around, you're going to see people. It's not a question of if or when. You are going to see, they are there. Because there are people that have done it. So you're going to see the people. And you take the goggles off, they're no longer there. And the evidence of this is actually the fourth generation night vision goggles was given to they've been around a while. They was given to the soldiers in Iraq when they were having their last, profit war over there, when the Bush cleaned up the oil industry over there and kept the money. So, the soldiers saw people. And they took the goggles off and they weren't there anymore. So they came and complained and they said, what's the story here? Why do I see people with the goggles, but I take them off, they're not there anymore? So they took the goggles away from the average soldier and they left them with the officers was able to use them. Because they didn't want the soldiers to know that there are ghosts walking around.
I wonder what is it about the fourth gen technology that you can see it, but not in the third or fifth or any other generation. What was so special about the fourth?
The fourth is more fine-tuned and can see higher up in the light spectrum than what we can. They can even see higher up in the light spectrum than the third generation and the second generation can. So that's why they can see the lower levels of the astral world around us. That's where ghosts are hanging out. So this is something that, in fact, Art Bell on his radio show. No, it was not Art Bell. It was someone else on Coast to Coast. I think it was George Norrie. He was at a conference, and somebody approached him and said, "I have the fourth generation night vision goggle here. Let's go out and have a look." So he gave them to George. They pointed it into the sky, and they saw flying saucers, there are cigars flying back and forth, and there were points of light going across everywhere in all directions. And they saw all kinds of ships out there. There is a traffic jam in the sky above you, but you can't see it. These are all what we call UFOs. But there are intelligences that is interdimensional right above us all the time. It totally blew George Norrie away when he saw this, so he dedicated a whole show on it. So it is there. It is up to us to discover it for ourselves, because there is this saying, that for the ones who have had the experience, no explanation is necessary. For the one who have not had the experience, no explanation is possible.
That's true.
They will not.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. If they haven't seen them for themselves, people won't believe it, because we are so brainwashed into believing religion and government, then we cannot open up the paradigm to accept the fact that there are things that we have been lied to about, and there are things that exist, but we can't see it.
So,
yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask, since their energy and they've left their body, why do you think so many people are experiencing what they call stuck spirits? Do you think spirits really are stuck, or are we misinterpreting what we're experiencing?
I think they are stuck because they think they are. Now, they can think themselves out of there, use the telephone, or they can also visualize the light and go to it. Then they can end up going through the light or going through the tunnel. There's ways they can think themselves out of there and going home. But if they think that, oh, I'm screwed, I'm here, I don't know what to do, so they just hang around, then that's what they do. And I know they can be hanging around for thousands of years. I have a personal experience on that one. That was back in Europe, in Norway. Me and a friend, we engaged in a bet, because there's an old cathedral there. It's about 800 years old. Cathedral, huge thing. And they say that it's haunted. So somebody challenged us and says, I bet you don't dare to stay there overnight. Well, they locked the doors, so where nobody's supposed to be there at night. But we were there late in the evening, right before they locked the door, and we went and hid. And they locked the door, so now we were locked into the cathedral. And we sat there all night. And during the night, along the center aisle of the cathedral, we could hear people crying, walking up the aisle, and pulling something that sounded like they pulled chains behind them. We also heard music that felt like it came out of the walls. which they probably did because music can get stuck, in vibration in the walls. But we heard these people crying and screaming, walking up the aisle. It wasn't really loud, but it was loud enough for us sitting way in the back, up by one of the organs. We could hear it. And it scared the daylight out of me. We just sitting there, oh, that was not a good experience. And in the morning, when they opened the doors, we were the first ones out of there. Oh, God, I haven't thought about this story for a long time.
Well, it's a fun
But
story now, but
yeah, now it is. But let me tell you another thing that you can do for yourself. You can make yourself a little electronic instrument. And through that instrument, you can have two-way communication with disembodied spirits or souls. In 2000, in 1901, Nikola Tesla got a patent on a radio. Now, for those of you that know a little bit about radio, they also know that in 1901, there were no radios in the United States. There were a few of them at different universities where they were doing experiments with them. And there were less than 20 of these at different universities doing experiments. The first radio station in the United States came online in about 1921 or so, was authorized to be a radio station. So in 1901, he built this radio, and he had it sitting on a table in his laboratory. And in an interview, he explained it. And I think I almost can quote this because he said, "I was alone in my laboratory at night. I had the radio sitting on the table, and I was hearing voices talking back and forth in a language I did not understand. And it terrified me." So he was listening to something that was outside of the physical, but this particular radio picks up voices outside of the physical. And you can go to YouTube, put in the search bar the Tesla Spirit Radio, and you can listen to this. There's a lot of them out there on YouTube. You can listen to the voices of these spirits when they talk through the box that they have. Now, there's some static usually in it. I saw one of them that took that voice and ran it through a computer to clean out the static, so there was just a voice left, and we could hear it pretty good. He asked the spirit, "What is your name?" The spirit told him the name, and he said, "Where are you?" And the spirit said, "I am right here." Now that would alarm a few, being right there with him. And then they had a conversation with him. And that all came through the Tesla Spirit Radio. This is real, folks. And also there is, I think about a week ago now, I interviewed a guy on Broadcast Team Alpha. You can find it on YouTube. That is the guy's name is Tony Rathman, Rathman. He lives in Phoenix, Arizona. He has built a radio type of equipment without the microphone, and he can stand there's no microphone, but he stands let's say 7 or 8, 10 feet away, and he talks to the equipment in his mind, and he gets voices coming back answering him that come through the speaker. And this is very clear. You can hear the voices very clearly. And there are people that go to his place, and let's say they have a mom or someone that died and they need to talk to them. They go to him. He says he can bring that mom back so she can talk to whoever wants to talk to her. And if you go to Broadcast Team Alpha on YouTube and watch that show, and about Tony Rathman, and there was about spirits, I forget the title of it. In the very end of the show, he demonstrates it. He runs the recording where we can hear the spirit talking. So, yeah, again, this is real. It happens.
Yeah. Your show title was Proof of Life, Tony Rathman on Spirit Communication.
Yeah. There you go. Now, that was voices. What about pictures? We have the pictures. There's a lot of pictures of ghosts and disembodied entities and whatever they are. We have that. And we have voice recordings. We even have physical matter that they leave behind. That is called ectoplasm. And there is some interdimensional exchange of energy from their reality into ours. But what about if we can see them alive? Yes, there is a way you can do that too. And that, get yourself a Tesla coil. Find one that is as big as you can get them. They have the little bitty ones. That is okay, but they may not do the job. You need something that is maybe at least maybe a foot or two tall. And go to a graveyard. Find a freshly dug grave. Set the Tesla coil right next to it. Take an extension cord and plug it in somewhere. Take a camera, walk away about 20, 30 feet and start taking pictures. You just might find something. There's a story about a newspaper article that I read a long time ago while I was back in Europe still, over 50 years ago. There were a guy in southern France. He made a Tesla coil. This was probably in the last, maybe around 1970, 71, something like that. And he took the Tesla coil out to his city's graveyard, walked away, plugged it in and walked away and took pictures. And very often he ended up with pictures of the guy laying in the ground. But now the guy was standing next to the Tesla coil and the grave. And he took pictures of them. There they were, right there. So he started showing this to his friends in town. And this is southern France, Toulouse, and these places down there. That's the Bible Belt of Europe. And he said his friends turned on him. They said, "Oh, you're working with Satan." And they ran him out of town. Then he said, if I had stayed there, they probably would have killed me, he said. So he had to move.
That's kind of
because
surprising.
He took pictures of dead folks.
Yeah, that's surprising to me because Toulouse and Carcassonne and Montsegur are Cathar related, and so I would not expect to be so Bible religious.
Yeah, that was back in the 70s. Things have changed a lot now, but of course, France is lost. It's a lost country right now. The Muslims took over.
Yeah, that's happening a lot of places.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious if you've ever experienced where if you put a coil next to a grave, say that was done that day, do you think you could get a photo of them actually departing the ground and our realm and going to the other side, or do you think that wouldn't transfer on picture?
Well, the pictures that he took, they were already on the other side. They were non-physical when they were standing next to the grave. So they were dead folks. But I there is if you research the Tesla Spirit Radio and also Tesla coil. I saw something on that a good while ago. There were Tesla coil spirit communication. Google that and see what happens. There still might be there. But there's another one that is right here in Arizona. At the University of Arizona in Tucson, there's Dr. Gary Schwartz. He is creating some equipment where he can communicate across dimensions. And I think a couple of years ago he said, "Give me 5 years," he said, "and I will have a machine that we can call somebody." It's called the soul phone. We can call somebody that is dead, he said, and they will talk with us. Now, already he's been able to do that in the form of yes and no when they ask questions. He got a computer that they have created this, and I think they run it through something similar as a radionic computer. And he said that we can ask a question and the answer come back in the form of a yes or a no. There's a green and a red light on the computer. If we come back a green light, the answer is yes to our question. If it comes back a red light, answer is no to our question. And he said at that time, so far, he says, all the answers that have come back has been accurate. So he's talking to something on the other side, which some of them, they claim to be people. And there are other times when they just ask a general question about something in nature or something like that, and the question come back is yes or no. Don't necessarily need to be people, but there are something that answers the question that is not there, not physical, but it comes from across the barrier of the physical existence.
I have what
This
may
gets
sound like a strange question for you as we're talking about this, and like you said, it doesn't have to be people. What if, like, a dog or a pet you had passed? Could you use the devices to talk with them, and would they talk telepathically, or would they, talk in their own language and you have to try and figure it out still?
Well, if we back engineer this one in our head, we come at there's unlikely that they have a similar device in their world. So they have to communicate telepathically, which the computer or the radionic computer will pick up and transfer into voice to be coming through the speaker. So there's telepathic communication turned into voice answers. That's the only way I can
Okay.
see it.
Well, that makes sense because it's like I can picture because they know our language from hearing us,
Yeah.
but they don't know how to vocalize it because it's not their language.
Yeah, there's a difference. The spiritual language is not one of words. It is one of mental images, feeling, imaginations, intention, love, and mind concepts that they react to. So now the church, they tell us what to say, like the Lord's Prayer, which was actually translated wrong. It's the wrong word from Aramaic when it was translated through Greek, through Latin to English. It got all screwed up. But this is what we have, so we can use that. But oh gosh, what was I going to say? The language of us when we talk, the words are basically worthless in prayer. It is the feeling and the imagination, the vivid, colorful images that comes with the word that the universal mind or disembodied spirits or God, so to speak, understands and they will answer to. That could actually make sense to me.
It does to me, and I kind of wonder as we're understanding now, there's so many dimensions and everything taking place in one singular moment. What if this we're using this machine, and I say what if because we're assuming it's a spirit of someone who's died we're talking to. Could it be an ET or a star being that is here doing work? Could they be communicating the same way through the machine, or would the machine not recognize the energy?
That is a very good thought because not everything on the other side is as it seems. There are pranksters out there. There are actually spirits that will lie to you. The best way to know who you are talking with is to know who you're talking with. And that is, let's say somebody called their mom and their mom come through. Her inflections of voice will be carried with her. And you can recognize that. Things that she may say. Or you can ask your mom something that only the two of you would know. That your consciousness knows and her consciousness knows. But anyone else's consciousness will not know the answer. When you do that, you can lock it in and make sure you're talking to the right people. But not everything is as it seems, and you could get an answer from someone that likes to play a game with you. There's a lot of pranksters, especially in the lower astral worlds, because they're hanging around there. Some of them have never had a physical body. And they're wondering, what is it like to have a physical body, but they can't get one? So they are trying to make games and play with you, try to learn how you work and how you operate.
I'm wondering now, as you say, you can travel on the astral plane. I know I can as well. If we're on the astral plane and we see this device and somebody asks questions, can we answer and interact with them as if we were spirits on out there? Or would that be something beyond what it can understand?
Boy, that's a good question. I never thought about that one. What comes to mind is that if we are out there outside of the physical and we're trying to communicate into the physical, we should probably be able to do the same thing as disembodied spirits would be able to do. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because I started thinking about too recently. We always say, "Oh, I wish I could go to this location and investigate." And I started thinking to myself, why don't we investigate on the astral?
Yeah.
Would that work? Or would, because we're on their plane, would we not recognize we're interacting with ghosts or
Yeah.
spirits that are there, and therefore you can't investigate through the astral?
Yeah. That'll be the way to do it. But having an astral experience, leaving the body, going out there, observing and participating thing and doing things, going investigating things, that is something that everybody can do that if they learn how to get out. It's simple. I didn't say easy. It's simple. But it takes a little practice. You got to go through some mind exercises to visualize yourself get out of the body and so on. It could take a little while. Thinking of myself, when I started decades ago, but I was still back in Europe, uh, I did it every night. And I know it was at least a month before I was able to get out. It could be a month and a half. I'm not sure. It was quite a while. But then again, that's me. I always had to work for things that I learned. Nothing came easy to me. So I just had to keep doing stuff.
And that makes me kind of wonder too, when we go on investigations, and I'm sure this has happened to you, where you step foot on a location and you're like, I've been here before.
Yeah.
But you haven't been. Could it be, a lot of times people will say, oh, it's past life, but could it be you were there in the astral?
Uh, I know there's at least two different ways that could happen. And that is that, remember, we are, quantum mechanics says that we live here in a mind created universe where we are connected to absolutely everything through the mesh of energy in our universe. So if you come into a town and it looks familiar, it could be because your subconscious mind is picking up the energy of what is around you, and it brings the mental images to the subconscious mind so you can start feeling familiar with it. That is one way that it could happen, but another one is plain and simple that it was a previous life that when you get there again, the familiarity brings up the knowledge of the previous life.
That makes sense. And the reason I ask is I had an experience where I went over to a friend's house for the very first time. And I walked into her kitchen and I could tell her where all the dishes were. Like the plates were in this cupboard, silverware's in this cupboard. And she was looking at me like, "How do you know this?" And I'm like, "I have no idea." Of course, I didn't get invited back, but you know, my
Uh,
metaphysical mind said, "Oh, I must have been in a past life," but past life couldn't guarantee, silverware is in this particular drawer. And so
yes,
now I have to go and think about it and go, was I there in the astral and just remembered?
yeah, or you picked it up from the mesh of energy that you are connected to every spoon in that drawer with.
Okay. Because,
Yeah,
yeah,
that could
because
be.
experiences like that have always interested me. Like, we write off deja vu so easily, but a lot of times deja vu can't be, so easily explained like past life because
Yeah,
everything is different. And so we can't sit there and just blindly say, "Oh, I was here before." Because if you were, the land would be different. The layout
yeah,
would be most likely different. So there's no way to
yeah.
know what you know.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, we just have to go with our gut feeling also a little bit because this is usually the subconscious mind talking to us.
And
Now, there's another way you can communicate with dead folks, and that is just because they died, they still know how to read. So let's say that somebody died 2 days ago and you are walking around the house and you can kind of feel them, write them a message. Like that happened to me here. There was an older lady that was living here with us, and well, older. She was a year older than me, but she died in early December, and I could feel her around the house for a couple of days. I could absolutely feel her, and I wrote a message, left it on the island in the kitchen. And I think another day or so after that, I didn't feel anything anymore. Now I wrote on the message, "You are no longer physical. Go to the light. Go home." And the thing about it is that she is not physical. She's outside of the physical. The physical is the box where we are. She's outside of the physical looking into the box. So it is just like looking in the mirror. Everything is backwards for her. So I wrote the message. You have to write the message, write it backwards, because then she can read it as it would be right for her. If you write a message to anything outside of the physical, write it backwards and they can understand it.
it's interesting you say that because in the metaphysics, when I was growing up, they always talked about the mirror verse. And people are reflections of, and there was big thing about mirrors being portals and all of this, but I never thought about you have to write and mirror to
Mm.
them because it is backwards. And
Yeah.
that just amazes me, how, and two, never thought about, oh, if I'm writing a message to someone, I have to write
Yeah.
it in mirror verse.
Yeah. Yeah. Think about that. When you look in the mirror, everything is backwards. When you the when you look at yourself in the mirror, if I touch my right ear, it's the left one in the mirror. Why does that happen? Why doesn't I see the right ear in the mirror too? Think about that. Let me know what you come up with. There's an explanation, but it's a deep one.
Well, the mirrors would be our opposites, and so what we do on our right side also affects our left side. So they're showing us the left side,
Yeah.
and therefore, whatever we're feeling, they're feeling opposite. But I wonder, as many times as we'll say something to the mirror and we never hear anything back or don't feel a response, is it because they're over there scratching their head saying, what in God's green earth did that fool just say? Doesn't he know we don't
Yeah.
understand them because
Yeah.
it's backwards?
Yeah. It's a little difficult to wrap our heads around, but there's so many paradoxes out there that it's hard to keep track of everything. But the more we do, the more we research, the wiser we're gonna get. So we just it's our job to grow as much as we can while we're here, because once we drop the body, nothing changes. It even in the Bible, Leviticus, I think, is somewhere in there. It says, when you die, it is like the tree falls in the forest, it will lay right there. Nothing happens to it. Something to that effect. So whatever we have learned up to that point, that's all we have for this lifetime. If you decide to come back for another one, then you start over again with nothing.
Yeah. And I think I just had
Then
a realization for your mirror question that might be an answer. We are ourselves here, but we're also ourselves on the mirror side, existing in two forms. So by us touching our right ear, ourself in the mirror verse is touching his left ear to make the whole connection, to make us one.
yeah, but say now, let's say let's consider this panel right here. Let's think that is a mirror. So I'm touching my right ear, and it's the left side on the panel in the mirror. But if I touch the screen, which that doesn't work, there's no mirror here, but if I touch it, yeah,
You have to touch
no,
the camera.
you got to
It
have a
won't
mirror
show.
to make this work. Yeah,
Yeah.
but see, the thing is that then your finger is on the right side where it touches. So go ahead and play with this. So there's something here that switches, and then of course everything is backwards, right? No, it isn't. My head is still up and my feet are down, but this way it is reversed. Why isn't this reversed?
I
Anyway,
wonder if it has to do with the way the mirror is it concaved or beveled or
no,
something? I
no,
wonder.
they're usually flat. Well, yeah, they're concave mirrors too, but that's not it. But now we're getting into the weeds here. We should stay on subject, probably.
Well, but
Uh,
if we think about it, if we're interacting with, the mirror and figure that out, we can understand why we can see images in mirrors
mhm.
that aren't there. And pointing case of that is there's a famous mirror in Louisiana at the Myrtles Plantation. They say is mercury glass, and they've replaced it, I believe, 6 times. And every time a handprint appears in the exact spot
Really?
on each mirror, and they say it's a ghost that's put his handprint there
Hmm.
and imprinted the glass. But they also talk about you can see spirits walking down the stairwell in the mirror, but
Yeah.
there's nobody there. And so I think if we can figure out, like you're saying, how we're in the mirror, we might be able to communicate with spirits through the mirror.
Well, the mirrors are also portals. You can. I think we even talked about this last time. If you stand in front of the mirror, look in your left eye, and whatever message you send out, that can go wherever you direct it. There's also there are people that say they can go to the mirror and they can communicate with other entities in places far away. So I haven't
Mm.
done much with that, but this seems like it can be done.
Well, and what's interesting too is if we look at the Matrix movie, the first one,
Hmm.
a lot of people don't remember, but when Keanu Reeves' character took the pill and was told to wake up and go into the real world, the first thing he did was touch a mirror, and the mirror
Yeah,
turned into this glob, liquid glob that all of a sudden took over his body, and he was in the real world. So it shows mirrors being the portals
yeah,
to different realms. And so, and
yeah.
I
That's right.
often I wonder if that's why too in the Victorian age when people died, every mirror was covered, and they said that was so they didn't return. Their ghost was the legend was their ghost would return, and to prevent it, you had to have the mirrors covered for a certain amount of time.
Really?
Yes.
Huh. That's interesting. Maybe they were not so stupid after all back then.
But
Yeah.
I'm
Hmm.
curious your thoughts though of the either myth or legend of if you put a mirror on every wall in a room, and I'd almost say even on the floor and ceiling, could you in fact trap a spirit or something in that room forever because every reflection it gets out of puts them right back?
I don't know, but I think a spirit is very difficult to trap in a physical enclosure because they're not physical. So I think they, unless they believed that they could be, I'm not sure. That's above my pay grade. I don't really know.
Okay. I'm just thinking, with, because we're touching on the mirrors right now as, scrying even with messages, you know, how do we know who, when we hear like Nostradamus and getting his quatrains through looking through a mirror,
Yeah.
do we trust that that was a loving, benevolent source that was talking to him, or did he even think to say, "Hey, um, who are you?"
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I have read some of his quatrains, and the people that interpret it, they say, "Oh yeah, that happened back then, and this happened, and this happened," and I don't see it.
Yeah, I think it's written in such a way that you can see what you want to see, and it
Yeah,
can
there you
prove what
go.
you want to prove.
Yeah, yeah, I think that was wise on his part, probably. So yeah. Now here's another concept, and that is that communicating with disembodied entities is telepathic. What if we could contact and communicate with extraterrestrials, interdimensional extraterrestrials? I think we can, because there's a process for this. There's the 5C. Uh, if you are trying to contact somebody outside of the physical, that is telepathic, we should be able to use the same method. If these are extraterrestrials that is operating outside of the physical in vibration, higher vibration, like the one you can see with the night vision goggles, we should be able to contact them.
Right. I've always, in the back of my mind, when I hear people say, "Oh, we have to point a laser in the sky to help them find us," I'd always hear myself thinking, this crap just traveled here potentially through wormholes or some time space differential. I don't think they're going to get to the planet in the outer atmosphere and go, "Anybody see that green light? Because we're lost now. We've reached the
Yeah.
pinnacle of what we can do. We need someone to directionally tell us where to go. Where are we supposed to meet again?"
Well, I think they are pretty good planners. I think they have a plan for everything they do. I don't think they necessarily get surprised by seeing a green light, but they may be of interest and they investigate, but I don't know. I think the telepathic way of contact, I think, has more merit to it. So that's because I've done that and it worked for me. So I think we can contact them. Maybe,
And I have a paranormal theory for you. We see like these shadow beings in corners watching us, and
yeah,
we naturally think, "Oh, this is a bad entity." Well, I started thinking about, what do we do before first contact? We're always told we would watch, see, about their culture, see about them, make our best, first impression. What
yeah,
if these shadow beings are ETs watching us to see, are these people ready? Are they going to be open and receptive? How are they going to react to us?
yeah,
And that's what we're seeing versus this dark entity.
yeah. That could very well be. And a lot of people have seen those shadow people. In fact, I have at least two of them living in this house with us because I can see them every so often. Every so often, I see it at a 90 degrees away from my field of vision. I can see them out there, kind of like a tall gray substance, somewhat human form, little smaller at the top, and then, it looks like a kind of a person wrapped in a big robe or something. And when I look over there, poof, they're gone. There's a reason for this, and that is that the periphery of the retina in the back of the eye can pick up higher vibratory light. So they are slightly above our light spectre that we can see. But when we look over, then we look at it at the center of the retina, which cannot see those higher vibrations. So the people that is living here with us, I leave them alone. I kind of talk to them ever so often, not very often, but I talk to them and say, hey, I'm busy. I'm doing something here. Don't disturb me. Or just, I have told them many times, feel free to stay here, but watch the place so nothing bad happens. So I put them to work. They're watching over the place.
They're earning
Now,
their keep.
yeah, there you go. Now, whether they heard me or not, I don't know. But they are living in the house here with us. They're just here. And if they're living here and they're not in our way, why in the world should I try to expel them? I mean, they're okay. I have no problem with them. The only
That's where I wonder, if there's two versions, because I hear of, and see people who are scratched by a shadow, and I'm like, okay, I
yeah,
get that. And I have an experience where when I was growing up and watching TV, like you're saying, I'd see him out of the corner of my eye, and we were making a game of it. Like, how close could they get before they could touch me? Would I, can they surprise me enough? And of course, I'd always turn and look at them, and they would disappear. But it makes me wonder, were we, are we around the benevolent shadows, which could be ETs, interacting, where you go to like a prison or an asylum where people have been tortured and emotionally left a
yeah.
emotional impact. Could that be a different type of shadow?
I suppose everything is possible because there's this mind-created universe, So if we believe it is possible, I am sure it is. And
Well,
then again, ever so often somebody say, when I die, I'll have all the answers. No, you won't.
you'll have questions you'd never even imagined coming into mind.
Yeah,
Is my thought.
just because you're dead, it doesn't make you smart.
Yeah. So going on your theory, that the mind creates what happens. Could
Yeah.
it be that these shadows that people that say, "Oh, they pushed me," or "They scratched me," is it a mental construct then that they formed because that's what they asked for and that's what they wanted to experience?
I have to say yes and no to that because at the very core of everything, everything is a mental construct. But within that construct, I'm here, you're there, and there are others. And some of the others, they may not agree with what I'm saying. So there are things out there that may feel like, well, I've been living here for a long time and these people moved in and I don't like them, so get rid of them, and they try to hurt them. Or they're just flat angry for other reasons, so they can hurt anybody. So if they get strong enough emotion behind it, they can breach the barrier within the physical and their world. So
That
that's
makes
the mental energy. Yeah, they can breach that barrier. And that's when you can get scratched, or you can see things, or things can happen.
And talking about that, it reminded me somebody made an observation of if you're a spirit that's newly formed, so to speak, and don't really know how everything works, and you go to grab somebody's arm to try and get their attention, it looks like you would make contact with three fingers more than the others.
Yeah,
And if their energy goes through, it can create what looks like a scratch. And we're thinking, oh, this being scratched me, they don't like me. When in fact, it could be they're trying to get your attention and don't know how their energy is going to interact. And it was a mistake. They didn't
yeah,
mean to scratch.
that could be too. Maybe they don't understand. If it's a really strong emotion behind it, they may not understand their own strength.
Yeah, that's when I started hearing that, and it got me to stop and think.
Mm-hmm.
I can't jump to conclusions anymore of, oh, I got scratched, therefore this is what happened, or
Yeah,
I got pushed, therefore this is what happened. Oh, I see this, so therefore this is what I'm seeing. Is I started to realize, wait a minute. When I see this lady walk across this hallway, I'm assuming this lady has always lived here and this hallway has always been here. But that lady could be in another dimension.
yeah,
And there's a window there that we don't see. And that's why there's no real communication between, because we're both in like, can you see me? How can you see me? What's going on? Where we're not sitting there going, oh, it's like that movie Contact where she's
yeah,
looking through the fog to creatures trying to communicate, and you don't know how, so you don't.
yeah, yeah.
And so, yeah, I feel like the paranormal world is, gone great to the point that it has, but it's got, in my opinion, it's only the tip of the iceberg, so to
Yeah,
speak,
yeah.
and need to investigate a whole lot deeper and a whole lot wider before we can say, yes, this is what's happened.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, that's there's something to learn there for everybody. But we have to get off the couch to do it. We have to put out a little bit of effort. And that effort, we don't know how long it's going to take, but whatever you practice, you're going to get better at. Like even astral travel. We're calling it astral travel, but it may not be. Where the astral body leaves the physical body, it is attached to the physical body with a silvery cord. If you see the cord, you are traveling within the astral vehicle. If you don't see a cord, you are not. You are then traveling by consciousness. And the astral vehicle have some limitations to distance because the cord has material or substance in it. You go too far, you stretch the cord so thin that you're running out of astral substance, and that will not break. When you get to the point where you can't go any further, you slam back into your body, and that can hurt all over. But if you're traveling by consciousness, there is no limitation to distance. You can go to another galaxy if you like. Now, I have not done that because it doesn't feel comfortable to me to leave this one. I know you can get back, but it just hasn't felt comfortable to me, so I haven't done it. But the thing is that you can go to different planets. If you go to the moon, you can look around. Go and find things in the craters. There are buildings up there. There are ships sitting on the surface. There's stuff you can see. So if you practice out-of-body experiences and stay with it, that will be an experience that you would love to have, because it's really simple. Let's say you lay down, close your eyes, relax the mind and relax the body, and then in your mind's eye, visualize yourself getting up, turning around, and getting out of bed, turning around and looking at yourself back in the bed. And you know what you look like, so you can, in your mind, you can see yourself in the bed. Do this every day. Some people catch on like ducks to water with this. Other people like me, it took me a month or maybe two, I don't know. But stay with it. Keep trying it, because there is a day out there when you actually will succeed. There's another thing to remember, and that is that there is this thing called astral blindness. What's that message say?
No, he was just saying
Yeah.
he's come to understand what
Oh,
we call paranormal activity is other dimensions.
yeah. Oh, that's good. Uh, but astral blindness, that is something that you are out of your body, but you don't know it because you can't see anything. That's why if you do it in a totally dark room, you may be out of the body without knowing it. So keep a light on somewhere in the room so you can have something to look towards and realize that, wait a minute, there's a light here, but I'm still back in the bed, so I am out of the body. And also, when you get out, don't say, oh, wow, I'm out of the body, I'm going to the moon now. No, don't do that. You're not ready.
No.
You are not ready. So you got to keep crawling before you can walk and run later on. Start move around the house a little bit. Maybe go outside. Start moving around, and whatever you run into, it's not there to hurt you, because there is nothing that can get hurt. Your physical body is still back in the bed. So there's nothing there to get hurt. So the only hurt you can have is a mental scar. If you end up seeing something or doing something that scares you really bad, that could be a mental scar that could later on prevent you from getting out. But whoever you see out there, I highly suggest don't communicate yet, because you don't understand the environment that you just stepped into.
I agree, and I have two questions for you. Theories, actually. When you reach the end of the astral cord, as you say, but in that instance before you snap back, can you jump into consciousness and leave the astral body, so to speak, and free yourself of the cord and be able to go further. And the other question I just went blank on, so I'll leave you with that one.
I don't know how to switch once you're out. I think that's a question I never thought of, because in the beginning I ended up using the astral vehicle, and there were a lot of times you come back and you don't remember anything. You remember there was something that happened, and this feels like familiar. I may have done that. You have glimpses of things, and that is because the astral vehicle, first of all, has no intelligence of its own. It only operates from memory. Whatever you have in your memory in the body, that's the intelligence that the astral vehicle have. Nothing more. So now, when you're out there, you can see things, observe things. If there are things that you don't know about, it is foreign to you. But you can learn. But also, in order for you to remember what you learn, you have to feed the information back from the astral vehicle through the cord back to the body. And that you do by consciously concentrating on what you have seen and observed or learned or done, and consciously feed that back through the cord back to the body. Otherwise, you may not be able to remember all of it.
That makes sense. And I just remembered my other question was you said you can't get hurt on the astral. And I have had experiences where I was astral traveling and I would wake up and like my arm on the inside like would feel like something hit it, or bruise on the inside, but there's no bruise marks or no explanation why I have it. And I always thought, well, I must have got hurt on the astral plane doing something. So if what you're saying is true and you don't get hurt, where does that pain come from?
I don't know. That is something that I have never experienced. I have never been attacked or hurt, or you can't fall down because you're floating. So it's really, but the mental scars, they are real.
I wonder if those experiences when that happened, I wasn't astral traveling, I was conscious traveling. Could
Yeah,
that be?
I'm not sure. Consciousness, I don't think can be hurt either. So I think, I'm not sure. What happened? I'm not sure.
Well, that's what this all is about, is nobody
Yeah,
really knows, and so it's
I can't just come up with an explanation, not one sure about what I talk about. So I can
no, I
theorize.
yeah,
Yeah.
I respect that and I appreciate that, because and I'm the same way. And we have like 5 minutes left, and there is a question in the chat room, but I don't know if it's one that you can answer in less than 5 minutes. Do you want to give it a try?
All right.
It's what's the difference between soul traveling and astral projection and remote viewing?
Let's deal with the last one first. Remote viewing is more so when you sit down and your mind is contacting through the unified field, the universal consciousness, and get an answer. Now, Tom Dongo up in northern Arizona, he says that when he remote view, he go to the place where he wants to see it. So imagine that both those things can happen also with remote viewing. But what you call soul travel is what I call consciousness travel. I think that is pretty close to the same thing. The soul have consciousness. It is not the consciousness that have a soul, but they operate in conjunction with each other. Where there is one, the other one have to be. So, and the soul does not rest in the body all the time. It can be out there doing things and other things, and the body is self-contained, working through consciousness. So, soul travel and consciousness travel, I think, works the same way. Astral projection, that is when the astral vehicle or astral body leaves the physical body on the outside, still connected with the physical body through the silvery cord, and you can go places, see things, and participate and observe. And then feed the information that you get back through the cord, and you will be able to remember. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Why don't I remember? I know I was out there. Yeah, you didn't feed it back.
And I also wonder, astral projection, is that a form where we can time travel and experience and not interfere with time and, cause, that proverbial paradox of you altered the past, so now you screwed up the future?
Yeah, that's a deep one. But remember, quantum mechanics has proven to us through repeatable scientific experiments that the past, present, and the future exist in the now. All the equations on the blackboard proves it, and they've done experiments where they have brought information from the past to the present and from the future to the present. So we have access. So then when we are, let's say, consciousness traveling, our consciousness have access to the past and the present and the future, which mean we can observe the past. If we can also go back and maybe relive the past. And while we do that, because we are in a mind-created universe, we could, this is my belief, and equations prove this could be possible, that we could actually alter the past. For somebody that want to look at this and find out if that's true, go ahead and Google the Helmut Schmidt experiment. Helmut Schmidt was a German scientist, and he did repeatable experiments where he altered the past. It's a very interesting experiment. So I think it can be done. Likewise with the future. If you thought about something and placed it in the future, it is there for you. You can go to that particular globule of information you placed in the future, and you can mold it, you can change it, you can add to it, and you can alter the future as well. Different than what you thought of when you placed it there. Boy,
Yes.
that got
Thank you, and thank you for sharing all your wisdom and insights with us. And
Uh,
we always seem to run out of time to, as we're getting really into it. And so
yeah,
I appreciate your willingness to come back on and to continue talking about this with us. And I
I will.
thank you so
Uh,
much.
I highly recommend for people. If you want to know more about what I know, look into the book Spiritual Science, Higher Conscious Thinking, and How to Access the Universal Consciousness. This book will teach you how to use your mind in ways you normally would think would be impossible.
Yes, and where can people find that book?
You find them anywhere where the books are sold, and try it on Amazon. That's the simplest way to get it. Amazon.com, and put my name in there, and then the book will come up.
Very cool. And do you want to take a moment, Augie, and promote your YouTube channel and your broadcast
Yeah,
team Alpha?
yeah, we could do that. If you go to YouTube and you go to Broadcast Team Alpha, and then you will see Nori Love and I. We have over 1,000 videos there that we have done over the last 7 years, and a lot of the go to the live section as well as the video section. I have a lot of videos in the video section where I'm teaching stuff like this. So you can go look at that, and then watch our shows on Thursday night at what is it, 7 o'clock East Coast time. So just go ahead and keep watching us, and if you're there, please subscribe. That'll help us a lot.
Yes, that gotta help with
Uh,
the algorithms. And you have a website as well.
yeah, that's broadcastteamalpha.com. And while you're there, go into the picture gallery. I got 5,000 pictures in there of things that shouldn't exist, but it does, like pyramids on the moon, and extraterrestrials, free energy devices, and just about anything that you're not supposed to know about.
Wow, you are like an endless source of information, and just it is
Well,
amazing. And I've looked at the website and at the YouTube channel, and I have to say it is phenomenal. All the information that you've gathered and you share, and I like how you share it in such a way that you don't dictate what it is. You just pose a question. You're like, what do you see? This is what I see. What do you see? Or
yeah,
how can this exist? And it's like, yeah, that's a really good question.
yeah. I learned a long time ago. I'm not trying to convince anybody, because then, I'm human. And sooner or later, I'm going to believe something that is wrong. And if I tell you about it and you believe it, then I misled you. So do your own research. Everybody out there, don't even believe me. Just go and do your own research. And you're going to be better for it, because then you know. If you just go by somebody else say, then you think you know.
Very true. And one thing I like to point out, Augie, is if I say something and it turns out wrong, I go, well, I made my best conclusion by the information I had at that moment. Now that I
Yep.
know this, I'm changing my conclusion, and that's the human experience. We can always
Yeah.
change.
Yep.
And
That's right.
so,
We do the best
thank
we
you.
can. That's all we can do.
Yes, thank you for sharing with us and for coming back on so soon and being available. I know we were just recently on the other show, and I just you are a phenomenal guest, and I thank you so much. And thank you for what you do. And like I did on my previous show with you, I'm going to do it again if you'll permit. And that is with my heart and the heart of my show to you. Thank you for what you're doing for humanity.
You're so welcome.
And with that, we are going to call it a night. And I appreciate you coming on. And we look forward to having you on again as a guest. So be sure to like, subscribe, and follow along Broadcast Team Alpha and my channels, because you never know what's going to show up. And amazing information is there for you to watch. With
Yep.
that, I'm going to say good night, everyone.
Good night. In the words of Spock, live long and prosper.
I love that. Okay, here we go. Thought we were going. It glitched. Let's see if it'll work this time.